Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local news for Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. The jury trial related to a fatal hit-and-run collision from 2024 began last week with the judge making several rulings related to evidence. Here's reporter Adeline J. Wells with more from the court.
Troy Reynolds returned to court yesterday morning for day 4 of a jury trial before Judge Sarah Oliver. Reynolds is the primary suspect in a 2024 hit-and-run collision on 29 Palms Highway that killed Yucca Valley teenager Joshua Barreras. District Attorneys Jason Geltzlow and Heather Razook represented the prosecution, and Attorney James Rogan represented the defense. While the jury selection process began on March 3rd, Judge Oliver expressed that she did not anticipate that a jury would be selected by the end of this week. She and the attorneys then discussed several motions submitted by both parties in the case. Judge Oliver ruled to exclude evidence contributed by the prosecution related to a secondary collision that occurred near the scene approximately 25 minutes after the initial collision on January 26, 2024. She found that the evidence was not admissible and had concerns that the two collisions could be conflated for the jurors. She denied the defense's request to exclude several photographs from the scene of the collision as evidence, including images of Barreras, saying she found them to be highly relevant to the case and not unduly prejudicial to Reynolds. Judge Oliver also denied the defense's request to include two witnesses whose offers of proof were that they would speculate on the victim's state of mind. She stated that the victim's state of mind preceding the accident was not relevant, nor a defense to the charge. Judge Oliver scheduled jury selection to continue this afternoon. Troy Reynolds is charged with felony hit and run resulting in permanent injury or death. He is currently out on $500,000 bail. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Adeline J. Wells.
Last night, the 29 Palms City Council approved a reduced salary increase for itself and heard concerns from residents on flock surveillance cameras and a proposed solar farm. Reporter Heather Clisby was there.
After 24 years, the 29 Palms City Council gave itself a raise. Since 2002, council members have received $465 per month for fulfilling their duties. An increase to $950 was discussed as the number aligns with state guidelines regarding council pay for towns smaller than 35,000 and considers average council pay for neighboring regions. Despite support from residents, including former council member Joel Klink, who initially proposed the increase as his final official act in December 2024, a first pass at the vote failed. Pushback came from within as council members Stephen Bilderain, MacArthur Wright, and Mayor Daniel Mintz all expressed discomfort when the city is being mindful of expenses and considering a sales tax increase. Councilmember April Ramirez noted that the monthly allowance does help with expenses such as gas and childcare and proposed an amount of $825. Council ultimately approved $700 per month, which will not go into effect until December after November elections. Once again, public comments featured a steady stream of residents who expressed deep concerns over the use of flock surveillance cameras and a proposed solar farm within city limits. They are asking council to make these agenda items or host a town hall on the issues. During the city manager update, Councilmember Octavia Scott asked Stone James for an update on a requested presentation from the Sheriff's Department on flock. James stated that he would look into that. The remainder of the meeting included acknowledgments of Women's History Month and Irish American Heritage Month, plus a departmental update from Building Inspector and Permit Technician Cameron Hepperly. The next meeting of the 29 Palms City Council will be on a Monday, March 23rd, and not the usual Tuesday. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
Last night, the Morongo Unified School District Board of Trustees met at Joshua Tree Elementary. There was very high attendance with standing room only due to concerned parents and staff regarding potential school closures and what is being called a lack of transparency at the recent enrollment committee meetings. Reporter Gabriel Hart was in attendance and has this recap.
The meeting began with Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education, Dr. Gracie Gutierrez, recognizing the organizers of last month's Literacy is Life event, which welcomed over 300 families to celebrate reading, writing, and encouragement of literacy across the district. Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, Amy Woods, then recognized all 429 Palms schools, which have been designated Purple Star schools, showing support for military students and their families. But the high turnout for the meeting was due to concerned parents and staff voicing their opposition to 4 potential school closures and lack of transparency at the recent enrollment committee meetings, which the board helped form to address these concerns. For the classified representative report, Secretary of Chapter 29 Teresa Greer stated, quote, "The ongoing discussions about layoffs and school closures are choices that will directly shape the stability, safety, and future of our community," unquote.
Students will lose trusted educators and supported staff, the very people who create safe, consistent learning environments. Families will face longer commutes, overcrowded classrooms, and reduced access to essential programs.
Due to the high number of public comments, Board President Christopher Clare extended the usual designated 20 minutes to nearly an hour. Concerned parents and staff urged the board to reconsider 4 school closures, suggesting they were, quote, aggressively rushing to that inevitability rather than looking for ways to increase revenue, reallocate funds, invest in resources, or redrawing the 25-year-old district lines. Friendly Hills parent Stephanie Dashiel mentioned what she observed at the recent enrollment committee meeting.
First, the talks given by Drs. Vargas and Gutierrez were clearly geared towards convincing the committee that elementary school closures and consolidations are the only path towards quality educational programming within the district. The many members of the public who spoke did not agree. They presented several considerations not yet presented to the committee and presented alternative scenarios and solutions that do not include closing schools.
One major concern was the added travel time for many of the district's most underserved students, many who already face a nearly hour-long bus commutes to get to school by 6:55 a.m. One commenter stated the added travel time would cause many students to have to wake up at 4 a.m. and not return home until 5:30 p.m.
We understand the pressure of the budget and the challenges facing this district, but to be frank, we cannot balance the books on the backs of our most vulnerable children. Consolidation sounds efficient in a boardroom, but in the desert, it means hours of travel for our most underserved students in outlying areas. Closing a school doesn't just mean a different bus stop, it can mean a 90-minute commute each way. I think it's really important for this board to consider, when does a child do homework if they're on a bus until 5:30 p.m.? When do they play? When do they spend time with their family and friends?
Another commenter, Justin, pushed back on the concept of, quote, consolidation and surplus.
The problem is too little investment making it to the schools that we already have. So when the only question being explored with funding is which schools to close, that stops feeling like an open conversation about budgets and starts to feel a bit like a trick.
Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Gabriel Hart.
The Bighorn Desert View Water Agency is a special district providing water service to eastern San Bernardino County, including Landers, Flamingo Heights, and Johnson Valley. At their board meeting last night, Jennifer Cusack was named General Manager of the Bighorn Desert View Water Agency. Outgoing General Manager Marina West has served in the role since 2007, but says she is ready to retire. It took an extensive search and several months to find her successor. Jennifer Cusack is a graduate of the University of Redlands and previously served as the Director of Public and Government Affairs at the High Desert Water District, where she was also Public Information Officer. The Flamingo Heights Community Center is holding a community meetup tonight. Organizers will provide community updates and neighborhood news, followed by an open discussion about ways to improve Flamingo Heights. They invite you to meet your neighbors and enjoy a beverage. The community meetup is happening tonight at 6 p.m. at the Flamingo Heights Community Center, located at 55977 Paris Street in Flamingo Heights. The Copper Mountain Community College District Board of Trustees meets in regular session tomorrow afternoon. On their agenda is draft language allowing deceased students to be awarded posthumous degrees. They will also suggest updates for standards of student conduct. The Copper Mountain Community College District Board of Trustees meets tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the school's Bell Center Community Room, located at 6162 Rotary Way in Joshua Tree. And finally, the 29 Palms Parks and Recreation Youth Basketball All-Stars competed in a tournament in Needles on Sunday. Every team representing 29 Palms moved into championship games. For the 3rd and 4th grade girls, they took second place. The all-tournament team was Juliana Wash. For 3rd and 4th grade boys, they took first place and were the undefeated tournament champions. The MVP was Josiah Dadzi. For 5th and 6th grade girls, they took first place. They were undefeated tournament champions. The MVP was Lynette Black. The 5th and 6th grade boys took second place, and the 7th and 8th grade boys also took second place. The teams will be heading to Palm Springs this weekend to participate in Beaumont's 13th annual Kings and Queens tournament. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.